Welcome to Zoe Stories. Mom said you'll learn. Now I'm her pretty daughter. The summer sun beat down through my bedroom window, scattering golden shards of light across the floor. I sat on the edge of my bed, hoodie pulled tightly over my thin frame, earbuds drowning out the world, though not the tension simmering in the house. Mom's voice had been sharp earlier, almost commanding, a rare tone I wasn't used to.
"You'll learn," she had said.
Those 3 words lingered in my mind, echoing, heavy with unspoken meaning. I was 18 or maybe 19, still figuring out who I was, still unsure how to navigate the world outside my room. Life hadn't been easy. Dad had left years ago, leaving behind a fragile boy and a mother who oscillated between kindness and a strange, unyielding control. I'd grown accustomed to isolation, to quiet hours alone, to avoiding conflict. And now something had shifted. Mom entered my room without knocking. I flinched, tugging my hoodie lower over my face. "Sit up," she commanded softly, yet with an undertone that made it clear this wasn't optional. I obeyed, heart hammering. She held a small box, wrapped in pale pink paper, adorned with a ribbon that seemed almost too delicate for the message it carried. I eyed it warily. What is this?" I asked, voice barely above a whisper. She smiled, a mixture of warmth and calculation. "Open it. You'll understand." Inside the box lay delicate fabrics, lacy lingerie, pastel dresses, and soft skirts. My stomach dropped. The reality of what this meant hit me like ice water. "Mom, what is this?" I stammered, panic rising in my chest. "You'll learn," she repeated, her voice calm but firm. "It's time you understand grace, poise, femininity. And yes, you're going to wear them." The words felt surreal. My hands trembled as I lifted one of the dresses, a soft pink one with lace at the hem. The texture against my fingertips was alien, intimate. I wanted to laugh, to cry, to refuse, but something in her eyes, a mix of anticipation and quiet dominance, made it impossible. "This isn't a punishment," she said, placing her hand over mine. "It's an education. You've been careless, clumsy, awkward. It's time to refine yourself, to learn how to move, how to speak, how to be." She paused, letting the words hang. "Beautiful. Beautiful." The word twisted inside me, a combination of fear, disbelief, and an unfamiliar thrill. I was the boy who had always been overlooked, ignored, invisible. Now my mother was asking or ordering me to become someone entirely different. I tried to protest. I can't. I'm not." "You will," she interrupted gently but firmly. "And you'll learn to like it." I didn't understand. I didn't want to. My reflection in the mirror seemed unchanged, just me, pale, lanky, uncertain. But I knew, with an almost terrifying clarity, that by the end of this, I wouldn't recognize myself. Mom guided me to the bathroom. "Step inside. Close the door. And take it all off." My pulse spiked. The words were both ordinary and catastrophic. She handed me the lingerie first, a delicate set of pale pink silk. My hands shook as I removed my clothes, replaced them with the new garments. Each piece felt foreign, soft against my skin, intimate, and exposing all at once. "Look at yourself," she said, stepping back. I did. The boy I had been stared back at me from the mirror, and yet beneath the surface, something was shifting. My body felt different, smaller, delicate, more aware. Every inch of skin seemed heightened, every movement amplified. I tried to hide, to shrink back, but there was no escape. Mom circled me, adjusting my hair, smoothing the dress over my shoulders. "Hold still. Walk," she commanded. I stumbled first, awkward and uncoordinated. My heels, tiny, delicate, torturous, made every step a challenge. But she didn't correct me harshly. She guided, adjusted, and finally whispered, "Good. Again. Feel it. Be it." Hours passed. She taught me to walk, to tilt my hips, to soften my voice. Each lesson was humiliating and intoxicating. Every mistake was met with a mix of gentle correction and a knowing smile that made me burn with embarrassment. By the time evening fell, I had learned to move without tripping, to speak in a softer, more melodic voice, to let the fabric flow with my movements. My reflection, once alien, was becoming familiar. And with that familiarity came an odd, unsettling awareness. I was changing. Not just my appearance, but the way I felt inside. Mom watched me silently as I practiced curtsies, tilts of my head, subtle smiles.
See?
You're learning, she said, almost teasing. And soon the world will see too. You won't be able to hide anymore. You'll be my pretty daughter, and everyone will notice. I shivered, unsure whether it was fear, anticipation, or a mix of both. I felt trapped, yet strangely alive, every nerve ending on fire with sensation. My old identity, the shy, awkward boy, was slipping away, replaced by someone new, delicate, visible, and undeniably feminine. And in that moment, I realized the truth. My mother wasn't just teaching me to dress like a girl. She was reshaping me entirely. The chapter ended with her voice echoing softly. Tomorrow we go outside. And you'll see, the world will never let you be the boy you were again. The next morning arrived like a quiet storm. Sunlight filtered through my bedroom curtains, yet instead of warmth, it brought a weight, a sense of inevitability. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, feeling the soft silk of the dress I had slept in cling to my body. Every muscle in me trembled with tension. Yesterday had been surreal, a strange mixture of embarrassment, fear, and something else, something I didn't dare name. Mom entered quietly, her presence commanding without the need for words. Time to wake up, she said softly. Today, you'll learn to face the world as her. Her words made my chest tighten. Face the world, I whispered, voice trembling. Yes, she replied, walking toward my dresser where shoes, a delicate purse, and matching accessories lay arranged like tools of transformation. You've learned to move, to speak, to behave, but now you need to be seen. Others must see you. You must feel what it's like to be noticed, to be observed, to be pretty. I swallowed hard. My reflection in the mirror seemed to challenge me. The girl staring back poised, perfect, and fragile all at once. My heart raced at the thought of stepping outside, of facing people who knew me as a boy, of showing the world the transformation that had begun in secret. Mom helped me with my hair, curling the strands into soft waves. She applied subtle makeup, a hint of blush, a light touch of mascara, gloss lips. Every stroke was deliberate, guiding me further from my old identity, shaping the girl I was becoming. Look at yourself, she said, her voice low, almost hypnotic. This is who you are now. And the sooner you accept her, the easier it will be. I looked, really looked. The boy I had been was a memory. The girl I had become, soft, delicate, undeniably feminine, was staring back. My stomach twisted with a mix of dread and something else, an unfamiliar thrill. We left the house and walked to the nearest mall. Each step in heels was a battle, but Mom's hand on mine steadied me. Her presence was both comforting and terrifying, a tether to reality, and a reminder of the control she held. As we entered the bustling mall, I felt every eye on me, or so I imagined. Whispers floated through the air, some curious, some judgmental. I felt my cheeks flush, my hands clenching the small purse in my lap. Mom guided me to a boutique, instructing me to walk slowly, to tilt my hips, to smile softly when approached. Relax, she whispered. Let them see her. Let them admire her. You'll learn how it feels to be desired, to be beautiful. A sales clerk approached, her eyes widening slightly as she took in my delicate features and the elegant dress. Can I help you, miss? She asked politely. Why, yes, I stammered, voice high, trembling. The sound was alien to my own ears, yet Mom's gentle squeeze of my hand reminded me to stay calm. We wandered through the boutique, Mom pointing out clothing that complemented my figure, teaching me to walk with confidence, to observe my posture, to hold my gaze. Every step, every glance, Every compliment chipped away at the boy I had been, replacing him with the girl I was becoming. Later, we moved to a cafe, where I had to order my own drink. My voice faltered, high-pitched and uncertain, and I felt the heat of embarrassment burn my cheeks. Mom leaned close, whispering instructions, guiding my tone, my posture, the way I held my hands. A young man at a nearby table glanced at me, eyes lingering for a moment. I felt exposed, every nerve ending alive, heart hammering in my chest. "She's really pretty," I heard him mutter to his friend. The words pierced me. Shame, fear, and an inexplicable thrill collided inside me. I wanted to run, to hide, but Mom's gaze held me in place. "See," she whispered. "This is what it feels like to be admired, to be noticed. And the more you feel it, the more you'll understand why you must learn." Hours passed like a haze of lights, whispers, and unfamiliar sensations. By the time we returned home, I was trembling from exhaustion, embarrassment, and something deeper, something I couldn't yet name. My reflection in the mirror seemed more familiar now. The girl I had become was tangible, alive, and terrifyingly real. Mom's voice broke the silence. "Tomorrow we go further. You'll meet someone who will see her in a way you've never experienced before. You'll learn what it truly means to be irresistible." I sank onto the bed, body trembling, mind swirling. The boy I had been was slipping further away with every step, every glance, every whispered word of admiration. And somewhere deep inside, a part of me craved it. The chapter ended with my heart racing, cheeks flushed, and a trembling thought echoing in my mind. I don't know if I can resist anymore. The following morning felt heavier than the day before. I woke to sunlight filtering through the curtains, but instead of the warmth I usually welcomed, it pressed against me like a weight. Mom's words from yesterday echoed in my mind. "You'll learn what it truly means to be irresistible." I sat on the edge of my bed, hands fidgeting nervously with the hem of a soft pastel dress laid across my lap. The memory of yesterday's mall outing, every glance, every whispered word, still sent shivers down my spine. I felt exposed, vulnerable, and strangely alive. A small, almost forbidden thrill lingered in my chest, a whisper of excitement I wasn't ready to fully acknowledge. Mom entered without knocking, carrying a small bag of accessories, delicate earrings, a matching bracelet, and a headband adorned with tiny pearls. Her eyes gleamed with that familiar mix of pride, dominance, and something darker, something that made me swallow hard. "Time to get ready," she said, her voice calm but commanding. "Today, you'll see how the world reacts to her, how they notice, admire, and want her." I hesitated, my mind racing. I don't know if I. "You will," she interrupted gently, yet with an undeniable firmness. "You'll see, and you'll understand. You'll learn to enjoy it." She guided me through every step, adjusting the dress so it hugged my waist just right, curling my hair in soft waves, and applying light makeup to highlight my eyes. Each touch was intimate, meticulous, and strangely grounding. When she handed me the small mirror, I barely recognized myself. The girl staring back was delicate, poised, and undeniably beautiful. And somewhere deep inside, a part of me longed to stay in that reflection forever. We left the house and headed to a nearby park, a place bustling with people but quiet enough for observation. Every step in heels made me hyper-aware of my body. My hips swayed carefully, my hands gripped my purse just so, and my voice, when I had to speak, was soft, melodic, carefully modulated. Mom walked beside me, occasionally whispering instructions. "Smile slightly, tilt your head, respond with a softer tone." A group of young men sat on a bench nearby, chatting and laughing. Their eyes turned toward me, lingering, curious. My chest tightened, my cheeks burned, and I felt my stomach flutter in a strange, unfamiliar way. One of them, tall, with dark hair and a friendly smile, leaned slightly forward. "Hey, you're really pretty," he said softly to his friend, eyes meeting mine for a brief second. The words pierced me. Humiliation, fear, and an inexplicable thrill collided, leaving me trembling. Mom's hand rested lightly on my arm, steadying me while her gaze silently urged me to accept the attention. "See," she whispered. "This is what it feels like to be admired, to be irresistible, to be noticed for who you are now." I swallowed hard, my pulse racing. Every nerve ending was alive. Every glance, every whisper amplified in my mind. A part of me wanted to run, to hide, to escape this exposure. But another part, a part one didn't dare name, thrived in it. The girl in the mirror, the one Mom had shaped, was becoming more real, more alive with every interaction. As we walked further, Mom guided me toward a small cafe, where I was to order my own drink. My voice faltered, high-pitched and uncertain, and I felt a blush sweep across my face. The barista looked at me, smiling politely. "What can I get for you, miss?" I stammered, Mom subtly correcting my tone, posture, and hand placement. The young man from the park entered the cafe and glanced in my direction again, offering a soft smile. My heart skipped, a mixture of fear and thrill coursing through me. Mom's grip on my hand was gentle, guiding, yet unyielding. "Good," she murmured, almost reverently. "Feel it. Let the attention wash over you. This is who you are now. You're not hiding anymore. You're seen, and soon, you'll learn to enjoy it." Hours passed in a blur of observation, instruction, and subtle humiliation. Every compliment, every lingering glance, every soft whisper reinforced the transformation. My reflection in shop windows no longer startled me. Instead, I watched her, me, move, react, and interact with the world. The girl I had become was tangible, visible, and terrifyingly real. By the time we returned home, I was exhausted, trembling, and emotionally raw. Mom's gaze followed me as I removed my dress and heels, leaving me in soft, delicate lingerie that still made me feel exposed. "Tomorrow," she said softly, brushing a curl behind my ear, "we take it further. You'll meet someone who will see her the way I see her, and you'll understand why you must learn." I collapsed onto the bed, body trembling, mind spinning. The boy I had been was slipping further away with every passing hour. The girl I had become was alive, visible, and undeniable. And a small, forbidden part of me wanted this. The chapter ended with my pulse racing, cheeks flushed, and the lingering thought echoing in my mind, "I can't stop feeling this. I can't stop becoming her." The next day dawned bright, warm, and unrelenting, much like the weight pressing on my chest. I woke to the soft hum of the ceiling fan, my body still trembling from yesterday's encounters. The memory of every glance, every whispered word, every stolen observation lingered in my mind. My reflection in the mirror greeted me, the girl's face staring back, soft, delicate, and undeniably beautiful. She had started to feel like me, though the thought still made my stomach twist. Mom entered carrying another small bag, this one heavier, filled with dresses, skirts, blouses, and accessories carefully chosen to challenge and enhance my femininity. Her gaze scanned me critically, as if weighing my readiness. "Good morning," she said, voice calm but commanding. "Today, you'll learn not just to move and speak like her, but to wear her fully. People will see, and you will feel everything: desire, embarrassment, admiration, and attention." I hesitated, my throat tight. I don't know if I. "You will," she interrupted gently but firmly. "Every moment you resist, you fight the very thing you are becoming. You'll learn to accept it, or you'll suffer trying." Her words made my chest constrict. I wanted to run, to escape the inevitability of this transformation, but I also knew, deep down, that resistance was futile. The girl I was becoming had already taken root, fragile but undeniable. We spent the morning in the bedroom. Mom guided me through every detail, selecting outfits that flattered my frame, layering delicate lingerie beneath soft fabrics, adjusting skirts to sit just right on my hips. Each piece was a lesson in femininity, every touch a reminder of how far I had fallen from my old identity. "Look at yourself," she whispered after helping me with a pastel dress. "See how beautiful she is. This is who you are now. You will walk, speak, and be her in the world." I trembled in front of the mirror. The girl staring back was flawless, my hair curled softly around my shoulders, makeup highlighting my eyes and lips, the dress hugging my curves in ways I had never experienced before. And yet, I still felt raw, exposed, and vulnerable. The trip to the mall began like every other. Careful steps in heels, small smiles, soft glances, and constant guidance from Mom. But this outing carried a new intensity. She had arranged for me to be observed, admired, and subtly tested by strangers. Every lingering look, every compliment, every whisper of "pretty" forced me to confront feelings I didn't fully understand. We stopped at a boutique, where Mom instructed me to try on multiple outfits in the fitting room. Alone, I studied my reflection, adjusting dresses, smoothing fabric over my hips. The softness of the fabrics, the way the garments clung to my body, it was intoxicating and humiliating all at once. My heartbeat raced. Every moment in the mirror seemed to strip away the boy I had been, leaving only her, the girl who moved, breathed, and existed fully in this new form. A saleswoman peeked through the partition, complimenting me on my selection. I blushed furiously, fumbling with the zipper of a dress. Mom's whisper reached me. "Breathe.
Smile.
Accept it. Enjoy the attention." And for the first time I did. A small thrill coursed through me as her words sunk in. I was being seen, admired, noticed, not as the shy boy I had been, but as the girl I was becoming. Later, we moved to a cafe, where a young man, one I had noticed yesterday, approached our table. He spoke politely, smiling warmly at me. My hands trembled as I sipped my drink, cheeks burning. Mom's gentle touch on my arm steadied me, her gaze almost hypnotic. "You're very pretty," he said softly, eyes lingering. My stomach twisted, but the thrill was undeniable. Embarrassment, desire, and something deeper surged through me. Mom leaned close, whispering, "See? This is what it means to be irresistible. To be admired. To be her." As we returned home, I felt both exhausted and alive. My reflection in the mirror no longer startled me. The girl in the image, soft, delicate, fully feminine, had started to feel like me, though the thought still made my chest ache with uncertainty. Mom's gaze was gentle as she brushed a curl from my face. "Tomorrow, we go further. You'll learn to interact, to bond, to feel what it's like when someone wants her and wants you." I collapsed onto the bed, body trembling from exhaustion and emotion. The boy I had been was slipping further away, with every passing hour. The girl I had become was alive, visible, and terrifyingly real. And a small, forbidden part of me wanted it. The chapter closed with the whisper of her voice echoing in my mind. "You'll never be the boy again. She is yours now, and soon you'll learn to love her." The morning air carried a quiet tension, heavier than any I had felt before. Even the sunlight spilling across my bedroom floor seemed different, almost accusatory, as if it knew what lay ahead. I sat on the edge of my bed, hands twisting nervously in my lap, staring at the pastel dress neatly folded in front of me. Its softness, the delicate lace trim, felt like a challenge, an invitation and a trap all at once. Mom entered without knocking, carrying a small case of makeup and a set of accessories I wasn't yet familiar with. Her presence commanded the room, her gaze steady, and her voice calm, yet layered with an unspoken dominance. "Today," she said softly, almost hypnotically, "we're going to learn something new. You will not only walk and move like her, you will feel her. You will understand her power, her allure, her vulnerability. And you will see what it means when someone desires her." I swallowed hard. The memory of yesterday's interactions at the mall and cafe still burned in my mind. I had felt observed, admired, and exposed in ways that left me trembling and exhilarated. Now, the thought of what Mom promised made my pulse spike, fear and anticipation coiling tightly in my chest. She guided me through the familiar process of dressing, selecting a soft, flowing dress, carefully layering delicate lingerie underneath, adjusting the fabric so it hugged my body just right. Her hands lingered on my waist, smoothing the skirt, curling my hair with gentle precision, applying subtle touches of makeup that highlighted my eyes and lips. Every movement was deliberate, every glance in the mirror a test of my internal surrender. "Look at her," Mom whispered, her voice almost reverent. "This is who you are now. And today, you will meet someone who will see her and want her. You must understand the power of being seen, the thrill of being desired." I hesitated, heart hammering. The boy I had been, shy, awkward, invisible, was slipping further into memory. The girl I had become was tangible, delicate, and undeniable. A mixture of fear and excitement churned inside me. Mom led me to a nearby park, quieter this time, more intimate. A boy my age was waiting, sitting on a bench with an almost expectant expression. His gaze lifted as we approached, eyes lingering on me in a way that made my chest tighten. "Hi," he said softly, voice friendly, warm. I noticed you yesterday. You're really pretty." My hands shook as I held my purse tighter. The words, simple as they were, sent a shiver down my spine. Mom's gentle squeeze of my arm anchored me, yet also reminded me of her control. "See," she whispered, "this is what it feels like to be admired, to be desired, to be her." The boy smiled, and for the first time, I felt the strange pull of connection, not just humiliation, not just embarrassment, but a tentative, emotional bond forming. I laughed nervously, cheeks burning, and felt an unfamiliar warmth spread through my chest. The sensation was dizzying, intoxicating, and terrifying all at once. Mom stayed close, guiding subtly. "Talk to him.
Smile.
Let him see her. Let yourself feel it." Every word, every glance, every small smile forced me to confront the girl I had become. The boy I had been was fading further, and the girl, soft, delicate, feminine, and undeniably real, was stepping forward. We spent hours together, walking through the park, talking, sharing small jokes, laughing at awkward moments. Each interaction, each compliment from him, reinforced the transformation. I felt visible, noticed, and alive in a way I had never experienced before. And beneath the fear, a small, forbidden part of me began to crave it. By evening, we returned home. My reflection in the mirror no longer startled me. The girl staring back, soft, delicate, and undeniably feminine, was becoming more real than the boy I had been. Mom watched silently, a small smile playing on her lips. "Tomorrow," she said softly, brushing a strand of hair behind my ear, "we go further. You'll begin to understand her fully, her allure, her vulnerabilities, and how the world responds to her. And soon you will accept her as your reality." I collapsed onto the bed, trembling, exhausted, and emotionally raw. My pulse raced, my cheeks burned, and my mind swirled with conflicting feelings. The boy I had been was slipping away. The girl I had become was alive, visible, and undeniable. And the small, forbidden part of me that had begun to crave this attention feared the inevitability of what was coming next. The chapter closed with Mom's words echoing softly in my mind. "You're hers now, and soon you won't want to be anyone else." The morning sun spilled through my window, warm but almost accusatory. I sat on the edge of my bed, trembling, staring at the delicate dress laid out before me. It was pale pink, soft as a whisper, and clung to my curves in ways that made my chest tighten. The thought of wearing it in public today made my stomach churn, a mix of dread and anticipation. Mom entered quietly, carrying a small bag of accessories, earrings, a clutch, and a pair of heels higher than any I had worn before. Her gaze swept over me like a judge evaluating a contestant in a pageant. "Today," she said softly but with that familiar, unshakable authority, "you'll learn something essential. You will be seen, admired, and tested. You must withstand it, or you will understand how powerless you are." I swallowed hard, heart racing. The boy I had been, shy, invisible, and cautious, felt like a distant memory. The girl I had become, fragile yet undeniable, trembled in the mirror, hesitant but visible. She helped me dress, adjusting the fabric, curling my hair with expert precision, applying subtle touches of makeup to accentuate my eyes and lips. Every movement was deliberate, almost ritualistic. When she handed me the mirror, I barely recognized myself. The girl staring back was poised, delicate and beautiful, but vulnerable. My pulse throbbed with both fear and a forbidden thrill. We left the house and walked toward a bustling shopping street. The heels made every step deliberate, careful, and slow. Mom's hand on my arm anchored me, her gaze steady, commanding. Every passerby seemed to glance, some curious, some admiring, and some judging. Each look sent a shiver of humiliation and excitement through me. Mom led me into a crowded boutique, instructing me to try on a dress that was tighter, shorter, and far more daring than anything I had worn before. My hands shook as I stepped into the fitting room, slipping into the garment. The mirror reflected a girl I barely recognized, exposed, delicate, undeniably feminine. "Walk out," Mom's voice whispered from outside the partition. "Show her. Let them see her. Let yourself feel the power and the fear." My legs wobbled as I stepped into the crowded store. Customers turned to look, eyes lingering, whispers floating through the air. My face burned, heat crawling up my neck, but a strange thrill coursed through me. The boy I had been would have wanted to hide, but the girl I had become stood, trembling but visible, in the middle of it all. A young man approached, eyes widening in admiration. "Wow, you're beautiful," he said softly. The words pierced me, and my knees nearly buckled. Mom's gentle touch on my shoulder steadied me, guiding me through each breath, each step, each glance. By the time we left the boutique, my cheeks burned, my heart raced, and my body felt alive in a way I had never known. The humiliation, the exposure, the admiration, it was intoxicating and terrifying all at once. Mom's voice broke the silence on the way home. "Tomorrow, we go further. You will experience what it means to be truly desired, to be truly feminine, and to understand the power and the danger of being seen as her." Back at home, I stared at my reflection in the mirror. The girl I had become was no longer just an experiment. She was real, alive, and undeniably mine. The boy I had been was slipping away, leaving me trembling, exhilarated, and afraid of what I might feel next. The chapter closed with a quiet, tense thought echoing in my mind. I don't know if I can go back, and part of me doesn't want to. The morning light was harsh that day, as though it had come not to illuminate, but to expose. I woke with a heavy, restless feeling in my chest, a mixture of anticipation, dread, and the lingering embarrassment from yesterday's outing. The memory of every lingering glance, every whispered comment, every moment I had stood exposed and admired replayed relentlessly in my mind. My pulse raced before I even touched the dress laid out neatly on my bed, a soft, sky-blue garment that hugged curves in ways I was only just beginning to notice. Mom entered quietly, carrying a small bag of accessories. Her eyes swept over me critically, scanning for hesitation. "Today," she said softly, almost hypnotically, "you'll reach a point you haven't reached before. You'll be seen, touched, and tested emotionally. You will feel everything she feels: power, vulnerability, desire, and you will understand why you must surrender completely." I swallowed hard, every instinct screaming to resist, to flee. But the girl in the mirror, delicate and undeniably real, whispered otherwise. She had begun to live inside me, making her presence known with every shiver, every breath, every hesitant glance at my reflection. Mom guided me through dressing meticulously. The lingerie beneath the dress was soft, intricate, and intimate. Every strap, every clasp, every smooth inch of fabric reminded me that the transformation was irreversible. My hair curled softly around my shoulders, my makeup accentuated the fragility of my eyes and the fullness of my lips. When I looked in the mirror, the girl staring back at me was no longer just an experiment. She was alive, and I was beginning to fear the realization that I was already hers. "Look at her," Mom whispered, brushing a curl from my face. She is beautiful, delicate, irresistible. And today, the world will notice her. You will feel what it means to be desired, and you will understand that you are hers fully. We left the house and walked to a quiet park, a place Mom had chosen specifically for this stage of the transformation. There, a young man someone knew waited. His eyes widened as I approached, lingering in admiration, and my heart thudded painfully in my chest. "Hi," he said, his voice soft but warm. You're really beautiful." My cheeks burned, my stomach twisted, and for the first time, I felt the strange thrill of desire mingling with humiliation. Every nerve in my body was on edge. Every glance felt electric. Mom's hand rested lightly on my arm, guiding me without restraint, reinforcing her subtle control. "Talk to him," she whispered. "Smile. Let him see her. Let yourself feel it." We spent hours in the park, walking, talking, laughing nervously. Every compliment, every lingering glance, every subtle touch from him drove me closer to the edge. My body responded in ways I couldn't control, a strange warmth spreading through me with every look, every word, every subtle admiration. The girl in the mirror was becoming dominant in my mind, overtaking the boy I had once been. By late afternoon, the emotional intensity was almost unbearable. Mom guided me to a secluded area of the park, where she instructed me to sit and reflect. "You've done well," she said softly. "But now you must face your truth. You are no longer the boy you were. You are hers. And the sooner you accept it, the less you will suffer. Feel her fully. Let her take over." Tears welled in my eyes. The internal struggle, the conflict between who I had been and who I had become, was reaching its peak. The boy who had hidden, who had been shy, awkward, and invisible, was slipping away completely. The girl, delicate, beautiful, and undeniably alive, was rising inside me, her presence overwhelming and intoxicating. I collapsed onto the soft grass, my body trembling. Every heartbeat, every breath, every glance around the park intensified the surrender. I wanted to resist, to reclaim my old self, but the sensation of being seen, desired, and beautiful was overwhelming. My mind was spinning, my body alive with new, terrifying emotions. Mom knelt beside me, brushing a curl from my flushed face. "Look at yourself," she whispered. "Feel her.
This is who you are now.
And soon you will no longer question it. You will accept it, because there is no turning back." I stared at my reflection in a nearby pond, the girl's face staring back, soft, delicate, alive, and terrifyingly real. The boy I had been was gone, slipping further into memory. The girl, hers completely, was real, undeniable, and dominant in every thought, every movement, every heartbeat. By the time we returned home, I was trembling, exhausted, and emotionally raw. I could no longer deny the transformation. I was hers fully, completely, irreversibly, and a forbidden, trembling part of me craved it. The chapter ended with my pulse racing, cheeks flushed, and one thought echoing in my mind: I am no longer me, and I'm not sure I want to be. The morning light filtered gently through the curtains, but it brought no comfort, only the weight of anticipation. I sat on the edge of my bed, the soft lilac dress laid out before me like a promise and a warning. The past week had changed me more than I could articulate. The girl in the mirror, delicate, poised, undeniably feminine, was no longer just an experiment. She was alive, and the boy I had been felt more distant with each passing day. Mom entered with her usual quiet authority, a small bag of accessories in hand. "Today," she said, voice calm but layered with command, "we step into the world fully. You will not hide. You will not hesitate. You will be her." My heart raced. The thought of going out, of being seen, judged, admired, and perhaps desired, filled me with a mixture of fear and a strange thrill. The heels on the floor looked taller than ever, the dress softer and more delicate. I felt both vulnerable and exposed, and yet, the girl I had become seemed to pull me forward, whispering in my mind, Step into her. Step into this. Accept it. Mom guided me meticulously. The dress smoothed over my curves. The lingerie beneath gave shape I was still unaccustomed to. My hair curled softly around my shoulders, and the subtle makeup highlighted the sharpness of my eyes and the fullness of my lips. Every detail was precise, controlled, deliberate. "Look at her," Mom whispered.
She's yours now.
"She is real. And today, the world will see her." We left the house and entered a busy shopping district. The noise, the people, the sunlight all pressed against me. Every step in heels made me conscious of my body, the sway of my hips, the subtle movements that drew attention. Mom's hand rested lightly on my arm, a tether and a reminder of control. I noticed the glances immediately. Men and women alike turned their heads, whispered, or smiled. Every look made my cheeks flush, my chest tighten, and an unfamiliar warmth spread through me. The girl in the mirror was alive, visible, undeniable. And every glance, every whisper, made it harder to remember the boy I had once been. Mom led me to a small boutique, hosting a fashion event. The organizers had been informed of my visit and treated me as a guest, their attention focused entirely on me. I walked through the store, every step deliberate, every smile measured, every glance a test of composure. Compliments flowed freely, and my chest tightened with a mix of embarrassment, pride, and thrill. A young man approached, eyes widening. You're stunning," he said softly. The words pierced me, but instead of shame, a strange, forbidden thrill coursed through me. Mom's gentle guidance, her subtle touch, and her approving gaze reinforced the surrender. Hours passed in a blur of admiration, interaction, and subtle testing. Mom instructed me on posture, speech, and gestures, refining the way I moved and spoke. Every correction, every touch, every whispered instruction molded me further. By the time we left, the girl in the mirror no longer startled me.
She was me.
Back at home, I collapsed onto the bed, trembling and emotionally raw. The boy I had been was slipping further into memory. The girl I had become was alive, visible, and undeniably present. A forbidden, thrilling part of me, part of the girl, wanted this exposure, this admiration, this life. Mom's soft voice echoed as she brushed a curl from my face. Tomorrow, we step even further. You will learn that being her is not just about appearance, but about desire, control, and power. And soon you will understand that she is yours completely, and the world will see it too. The chapter closed with the thought echoing in my mind, I am hers, and I am beginning to want it. The day began with a weight pressing on my chest that I had never felt before. I woke to sunlight filtering through the curtains, illuminating my reflection in the mirror. The girl staring back at me, soft, delicate, undeniably feminine, was no longer an experiment. She had taken root inside me, asserting herself with every subtle movement, every glance, every breath. Mom entered carrying a bag of accessories, her calm authority filling the room. Today, she said softly, yet every word commanded attention. You will be tested, not just by me, but by the world. You will walk, talk, and be her, and you will face reactions that will push your limits. My heart pounded. I knew this meant more than simply dressing up. Today, I would confront strangers, critics, admirers, and perhaps even those who might recognize the boy I had been. The thought made my stomach twist, a mixture of fear, embarrassment, and an almost irresistible thrill. Mom guided me carefully through dressing. The lingerie beneath the dress was intricate, soft, and intimate. She adjusted the fabric to hug my curves just right, curled my hair with practiced hands, and applied makeup that accentuated my eyes and lips. Every detail reminded me that my transformation was no longer a choice. It was a reality, and the girl in the mirror was undeniably mine. Look at her, Mom whispered, brushing a strand of hair behind my ear. She is yours now. And today, the world will challenge her and you will survive, fully exposed and fully feminine. We stepped into the busy shopping district, the noise, people, and sunlight pressing in. My legs trembled in the heels, the sway of my hips drawing glances that made my chest tighten. Each whisper, each stare, each compliment tested me in ways that left me trembling, vulnerable, and alive. Mom led me to a boutique hosting a small fashion event. The organizers treated me as a guest of honor, and I walked through the space with deliberate steps, my every movement measured. Compliments poured in from strangers, some soft and admiring, others bold and flirtatious. Each one sent a shiver through me, blending embarrassment, pride, and an undeniable thrill. A young man approached, his eyes lingering. You're stunning," he said softly. The words pierced me, a mixture of humiliation and arousal coursing through me. Mom's approving touch reminded me to stay composed, guiding me subtly with her presence. The afternoon blurred into an intricate dance of social interaction, subtle seduction, and emotional testing. Mom corrected my posture, speech, and gestures, refining every aspect of my presentation. Every touch, every whispered instruction, molded me further into the girl I had become. I felt the boy inside me fading completely, replaced by this delicate, beautiful, and undeniably real girl. A forbidden thrill stirred within me, a craving for attention, for admiration, for the exposure that once terrified me. Back at home, I collapsed on the bed, exhausted and emotionally raw. The girl in the mirror no longer startled me. She was alive, present, and fully mine. Mom's soft voice lingered as she brushed a curl from my face. Tomorrow, we go further. You will learn to command desire, to embrace your power, and to understand that she is yours completely, and the world will see it too. The chapter closed with a quiet, intoxicating thought echoing in my mind. I am hers, and I am beginning to crave it. The day started earlier than usual, sunlight spilling across my room with an almost accusing intensity. I sat on the edge of my bed, staring at the soft, peach-colored dress laid out before me. My body trembled, not from cold, but from the knowledge of what awaited. The girl in the mirror was no longer a reflection of an experiment. She was alive, real, and entirely present. Every curve, every delicate feature, every subtle motion screamed femininity, and the boy I had been was slipping further into memory. Mom entered, her presence commanding yet calm, holding a small bag filled with accessories, earrings, bracelets, and a clutch that seemed to carry the weight of the day's challenges. Today, she said, voice low but firm, you will surrender fully. Not just in private, but in public. You will be seen, admired, tested, and you will understand the power of being her. My heart raced. The thought of walking through crowded streets, of being observed, whispered about, and admired, made my chest tighten. Fear, embarrassment, and a strange thrill coursed through me in equal measure. Mom guided me through dressing, carefully layering lingerie beneath the dress, adjusting it to hug my body perfectly, curling my hair with precision, and applying subtle makeup that highlighted my eyes and lips. Every touch, every adjustment, reminded me that this transformation was irreversible. The girl in the mirror no longer startled me. She was undeniable, and I felt her growing stronger with each movement. Look at her, Mom whispered, brushing a curl from my shoulder.
She is yours now.
And today, the world will witness her. You will walk, speak, and exist fully as her, and you will feel what it means to be desired. We stepped into the busy shopping district. The noise, the movement, the sunlight, all pressed against me, testing my composure. Every step in heels made me aware of my body, the sway of my hips, the subtle movements that drew attention. Glances followed me, some admiring, some curious, some bold. Each one sent a shiver through me, blending embarrassment with an intoxicating thrill. Mom led me to a cafe where a small gathering had been arranged. People turned to look as I entered, whispers floating through the air. I felt every heartbeat, every glance, every murmur pressing on me. A young man approached, eyes lingering in admiration. You're beautiful," he said softly. The words made my knees tremble, a mix of humiliation and pleasure flooding me. Mom's hand on my shoulder reminded me to stay composed. yet subtly guided me into gestures, postures, and expressions that amplified my allure. Each step, each smile, each word of conversation taught me to embrace the girl I had become fully. Hours passed in a haze of observation, interaction, and subtle testing. Mom corrected my movements, whispered guidance, and reinforced my feminine identity. Every touch, every look, every whispered instruction molded me further into the girl in the mirror. Delicate, beautiful, and undeniably alive. By the time we returned home, I was trembling, emotionally raw, and utterly transformed. The boy I had been was gone, fading into memory. The girl, delicate, beautiful, and wholly real, had taken over completely. A forbidden thrill stirred within me, a craving for attention, admiration, and the exposure that once terrified me. Mom's soft voice lingered as she brushed a curl from my flushed face. Tomorrow, we deepen the experience. You will learn to command desire, embrace your power, and understand fully that she is yours completely, and the world will see it too. The chapter ended with a quiet, intoxicating thought echoing in my mind. I am hers, and I am beginning to crave it more than I fear it. The morning air felt unusually still, almost as if the world itself were holding its breath. I awoke with a tightness in my chest that I couldn't shake, my reflection in the mirror no longer startling but compelling. The girl staring back at me, delicate, polished, undeniably feminine, was fully alive now, and the boy I had been was dissolving further with every heartbeat. Mom entered carrying her familiar small bag, her gaze sweeping over me like a sculptor inspecting a work of art. Today, she said softly but with that unshakable authority, you will be tested emotionally, mentally, and physically. You will surrender deeper than ever. You will understand what it truly means to be her and to belong fully to her. Fear and anticipation coiled tightly in my stomach. I had already walked streets, felt eyes upon me, endured whispers, and been tested by admiration, but Mom's words hinted that today would be different. Today, the lessons would penetrate to my core. She helped me dress meticulously. The lingerie beneath the soft rose dress clung to every curve, smooth and intimate. My hair was curled with practiced precision, makeup applied to highlight every delicate feature, from the arch of my eyebrows to the subtle flush of my cheeks. The girl in the mirror was alive, commanding attention and radiating fragility and allure simultaneously. Every adjustment Mom made reminded me that this was no longer an experiment. It was a transformation that had claimed me entirely. Look at her, Mom whispered, brushing a curl behind my ear. She is yours now. And today, the world will challenge her. You will face situations that will push your vulnerability to the limits, and you will survive. We walked into the city streets, the morning crowd bustling around us. Every glance from strangers made my cheeks burn, every whisper pressed against me like a physical weight. I felt exposed, humiliated, and yet alive in a way I had never known. Mom guided me through public interactions, every movement, every gesture, every word of speech measured and deliberate. A young man approached, admiration shining in his eyes. You're stunning," he said softly. My knees trembled, heart hammering as humiliation and a forbidden thrill coursed through me simultaneously. Mom's reassuring yet commanding touch kept me steady. Later, she brought me to a quiet cafe where she tested me further.
Talk to him. Smile. Laugh.
Let him see her fully. Let him sense her vulnerability and her allure at the same time. Understand this. Every glance, every word, every reaction is part of your lesson. Hours passed in a haze of exposure, subtle seduction, and emotional testing. Mom corrected my posture, my gestures, and my expressions, reinforcing my feminine identity and deepening my emotional submission. Every touch, glance, and whisper molded me further into the girl in the mirror. By evening, I was trembling and emotionally exhausted. The boy I had been was fading completely, replaced by a delicate, beautiful, and undeniable feminine presence. A forbidden thrill stirred within me, an awareness that this exposure, This surrender was intoxicating in a way I had never anticipated. Mom's voice, soft but commanding, broke the silence. Tomorrow, we take it further. You will not just be seen, you will be desired. You will understand what it truly means to belong to her completely and to command the attention she deserves. As I stared at my reflection in the dim light, a realization settled deep inside me. I am no longer the boy I was. I am hers, and part of me fears I will never return. The city streets were alive with the sounds of honking cars, chatter, and the faint hum of distant music. But for me, everything felt amplified, sharper, more intense. Each glance, each whisper, and each subtle judgment seemed magnified, pressing against my chest like a physical weight. I knew today would be different. Mom's calm, commanding presence hinted at a challenge far beyond anything I had faced before. "You're ready," she said softly, her eyes scanning me with a mix of pride and calculated authority. "Today, the world will recognize her. You will be seen, and some will know who you were, and you must survive it. You must accept her fully, or you will crumble." The dress she laid out for me was a deep, vibrant red, tailored to accentuate every curve and detail. Beneath it, the lingerie she had chosen was intricate, delicate, and intimately fitting. My hair cascaded in soft waves, and the makeup accentuated the softness of my cheeks and the curve of my lips. When I looked in the mirror, I barely recognized myself. The girl staring back was alive, undeniable, and radiating confidence and fear. As we stepped into the busy streets, I felt the weight of every gaze. People whispered, some smiled, some stared, and one group of familiar faces stopped mid-conversation, their eyes widening in recognition. A pang of panic hit me. Someone from my past had seen me, and the realization of how far I had changed caused my stomach to churn. "Stay calm," Mom murmured, her hand brushing lightly over my arm. "You are hers. You are beautiful. Let them see her fully." I walked forward, each step in heels deliberate, controlled, and painfully noticeable. The familiar faces, old classmates from my high school, gazed at me, their whispers cutting through the air. "Is that?" one asked, and I felt the flush of humiliation rise, spreading through my body. The adrenaline of recognition made every nerve scream. My heart pounded, and my body responded in ways that left me trembling with a mix of fear, shame, and a strange, undeniable thrill. The girl I had become was visible, undeniable, and fully alive, and part of me thrilled at being seen, even by those who had known me as a boy. Mom guided me through the encounter with subtle authority, teaching me how to respond, how to smile, how to carry myself. Each correction, each whispered instruction, reinforced my feminine identity. The old me, the shy, awkward boy, was slipping further, replaced by someone delicate, visible, and undeniably feminine. Later, we visited a boutique for a public fashion event. Strangers admired me openly, some approaching with compliments, some with curiosity, others with subtle flirtation. Every glance, every comment, every whisper heightened the emotional intensity, blurring the lines between humiliation and excitement. I felt my emotions unravel, raw and exposed. The boy I had been was slipping completely, and the girl in the mirror, the one I had nurtured, feared, and grown into, was rising, powerful in her fragility, intoxicating in her presence. By the time we returned home, I was trembling, emotionally exhausted, and utterly transformed. Mom's soft, commanding voice lingered as she brushed a strand of hair from my face. "Tomorrow, we push you further. You will understand desire, power, and submission completely, and the world will see her entirely. There is no turning back now." I stared into the mirror one last time that night, my reflection unrecognizable yet familiar. The girl I had become was alive, breathing, and dominant in every part of me. The boy I had been was gone, fading into memory, leaving behind only the trembling realization: I am hers, and I may never be anything else. The day began with a tension that was almost unbearable. I woke before sunrise, the quiet of the house pressing against me like a physical weight. Today was different. Mom's tone from the previous evening still echoed in my mind. You will understand desire, power, and submission completely, and the world will see her entirely. I approached the mirror, and the girl staring back at me seemed more real than ever. Her delicate features, soft curves, and the subtle confidence radiating from her eyes were intoxicating. The boy I had been felt like a distant memory, slipping further with each passing heartbeat. Mom entered, carrying a large tote filled with accessories, heels, and makeup supplies. Her gaze swept over me critically, a small smile of approval tugging at her lips. Today, she said, you will not just be seen. You will be tested in ways you haven't imagined. Public exposure, attention, and desire will challenge you, physically, mentally, emotionally. You will learn what it truly means to surrender. I felt my pulse race. The thought of being scrutinized, desired, and vulnerable in public both terrified and thrilled me. Mom guided me carefully through dressing, delicate lingerie hugging every curve beneath a pale pink dress that fell perfectly around my thighs, soft curls framing my face, and makeup that highlighted the subtle blush of my cheeks and the fullness of my lips. Every adjustment, every gentle touch reminded me that I was no longer simply a boy experimenting. I was becoming someone entirely new. Look at her, Mom whispered, brushing a strand of hair from my shoulder. She is yours, and today, the world will witness her fully. You will feel every emotion, every gaze, every reaction, and you will survive it. You will thrive in it. We left the house, stepping into the busy streets with a new level of confidence forced by necessity. Each step in heels was deliberate. Every sway of my hips accentuated my presence. Eyes followed me, some admiring, some curious, others blatantly captivated. I felt exposed, humiliated, and alive all at once. Mom led me into a luxury mall where an arranged event awaited. A small crowd had gathered, unaware of the magnitude of the test that awaited me. As we walked through, whispers spread, and some recognized me from the past. I felt the heat of embarrassment, but an unanticipated thrill surged through me. The girl in the mirror had become real, commanding attention effortlessly. A young man approached with an easy smile. You're gorgeous," he said softly. My cheeks burned, my body trembled, and a rush of warmth spread through me. Mom's subtle guidance, hand on my back, whisper in my ear, kept me poised, yet fully aware of every sensation. Hours passed in a blur of exposure, admiration, subtle flirtation, and emotional testing. Mom corrected my gestures, posture, and expressions, molding every detail of my presentation. Each moment heightened the intensity of my surrender, emotionally, mentally, physically. By late afternoon, I was trembling, exhausted, yet exhilarated. The girl in the mirror had become dominant within me, alive in every motion, every glance, every breath. The boy I had been was fading completely. As we returned home, Mom's voice broke the silence. Tomorrow, we push the final boundaries. You will learn to embrace desire, power, and surrender fully, and you will accept that she is yours entirely. I stared at my reflection that night, shivering with a mix of fear, longing, and anticipation. The girl I had become was fully alive, undeniably feminine, and utterly real. The boy I had been existed only in memory, leaving behind a haunting thought. I am hers, and there is no turning back. The morning sun streamed through my window, warm and bright, yet I felt a tension heavier than the air around me. Today was different. The lessons, the tests, the exposure, they had all led to this moment. The girl in the mirror no longer startled me. She was alive, fully formed, and undeniable. The boy I had been was gone, fading into memories that felt distant and unreal. Mom entered with her usual calm authority, carrying a large bag of accessories and a small box of gifts. Her eyes swept over me with a mixture of pride, dominance, and something I couldn't quite name, an intensity that made my stomach tighten. Today, she said softly, you will face your ultimate test. Public exposure, desire, attention. You will experience all of it fully, without hesitation or fear. You will understand what it truly means to be hers and to accept it completely. My heart pounded. I had faced attention, compliments, recognition. But today, Mom's words implied something deeper, more intimate. I felt both terrified and exhilarated, my body already responding to the anticipation. She helped me dress meticulously. The lingerie beneath the pale lavender dress was intricate, delicate, and intimately fitting, accentuating every curve. My hair fell in soft waves around my shoulders, and my makeup highlighted every detail: the gentle flush of my cheeks, the fullness of my lips, the shimmer in my eyes. Every touch, every adjustment, reminded me that I was no longer a boy experimenting. I was someone entirely new. "Look at her," Mom whispered, brushing a curl from my face.
"She's yours now."
"You are hers. And today, the world will see it, and you will feel it fully." We stepped into the bustling city streets. Each glance from strangers, each whispered comment, each lingering gaze pressed against me, testing my composure. I felt vulnerable, exposed, and yet exhilarated. Every step in heels emphasized my curves, every sway of my hips drew attention, and I began to realize that I wanted it. Mom guided me through every interaction, subtle and deliberate: posture, gestures, speech, smiles. Every correction reinforced my feminine identity. Every touch deepened my emotional surrender. I walked through a crowded cafe, a boutique, and finally to a small park where she had arranged a gathering of acquaintances, some familiar, some strangers, all unaware of the magnitude of the test. People admired me openly, some complimented, others whispered, and a few recognized me from my past. A strange mix of humiliation and pleasure coursed through me. The girl in the mirror had become fully real, alive in every motion, every glance, every breath. A young man approached, admiration shining in his eyes. You're stunning," he said softly. My knees trembled, chest tightening with a mix of fear and excitement. Mom's hand rested lightly on my shoulder, guiding me, steadying me, yet encouraging me to embrace the sensations fully. Hours passed in a blur of exposure, attention, and subtle seduction. By the time we returned home, I was trembling, emotionally raw, yet exhilarated. The boy I had been was gone, replaced entirely by the girl in the mirror, delicate, beautiful, and undeniably alive. Mom's voice, soft yet commanding, broke the silence. "Tomorrow, you will understand fully that she is yours. You will accept it completely, and you will never want to go back." I stared at my reflection that night, trembling with desire, fear, and anticipation. The girl I had become was fully alive, undeniably feminine, and completely real. The boy I had been existed only as a memory, leaving behind a haunting realization: I am hers and I will never be anything else. The morning sun was soft, golden, and forgiving, yet I felt an unfamiliar stillness inside me. The weeks of lessons, tests, exposure, and surrender had led to this point, the final moment where my old self, the boy I had once been, would either resurface or dissolve completely. I approached the mirror, taking in the girl who had emerged so fully, so vividly, that I could no longer remember the exact shape of the boy I had been. Every curve, every subtle motion, every flicker of expression belonged to her. The girl staring back was delicate, undeniably beautiful, and wholly alive. Mom entered, her calm authority radiating through the room, carrying a small, elegant box. Her eyes scanned me with pride and something deeper: intensity, possession, and quiet satisfaction. "Today," she said softly, "you will make your choice, even if you don't realize it. You will either embrace her fully, or you will cling to a shadow of who you once were. The world will see her entirely, and you will feel it completely." I felt my heart hammering, my palms sweating, my chest tightening. The fear, excitement, humiliation, and desire all converged into a single, potent sensation. The world outside was waiting, full of eyes, whispers, and judgment, But inside me, the battle had already begun. Mom helped me into a flowing, sky-blue dress that accentuated every curve. The delicate lingerie beneath clung softly, the heels elongated my legs, and my hair fell in perfect, soft waves. My makeup glimmered under the morning light, highlighting the fullness of my lips and the shimmer of my eyes. The girl in the mirror was alive, breathing, and ready. We stepped outside into the bustling city. Eyes turned, whispers floated, and some faces recognized me from the past. The reactions I had once feared now brought an undeniable thrill, a sense of power mingled with vulnerability. Every glance, every whispered comment, every touch of attention reinforced the girl I had become. Mom guided me through every interaction, posture, gestures, speech, and expression. Each correction, each touch, each whispered word deepened my surrender, making the feminine identity more than just a disguise. It was now my reality. By midday, I felt completely exposed, utterly vulnerable, yet exhilarated. A young man approached, admiration in his eyes. You're incredible," he said softly. My knees trembled, my heart raced, and I felt a strange, intoxicating mixture of humiliation and desire. Mom's hand on my back guided me, steadying me yet encouraging me to embrace it fully. Hours passed in a blur of attention, flirtation, and subtle seduction. I felt my old self slipping completely. The boy I had been was gone, fading into memory. The girl in the mirror was now dominant, real, and alive in every way. Returning home, Mom's voice broke the silence, calm and commanding. "You see now. She is yours. She is real. You will never forget her, and you will never want to go back." I stared at my reflection, trembling with a mixture of fear, desire, and profound realization. The girl I had become was fully alive, undeniably feminine, and entirely mine. The boy I had been existed only as a memory, a shadow of what once was. And in that moment, I understood fully. I am hers. I am beautiful. I am hers completely, and the world will see it too. Tears brimmed in my eyes, not from sadness, but from the overwhelming intensity of the transformation. The lessons, the humiliation, the exposure, the surrender, it had all led to this undeniable truth. I was hers, fully and irrevocably, and the girl in the mirror was finally mine to embrace. The story ended with a quiet, intimate triumph, a mix of emotional surrender, beauty, and undeniable identity. The transformation was complete, irreversible, and emotionally consuming. The girl I had become was no longer a secret, no longer an experiment. She was real, alive, and powerful in her delicate femininity.